Hello and welcome. My name is Zaffar Iqbal, and you are watching The Mojo Story. An American Airlines flight from New York to Delhi was diverted to Rome on Sunday following a bomb threat. Later, that bomb threat was deemed as non credible. The Boeing Dreamliner was carrying 199 people and was escorted by Italian Air Force fighters. You can see on that screen, those are the passengers who disembarked from that flight. Now, the airline have confirmed that while the threat was received via an email, it was unfounded. Passengers and crew safely disembarked, and the flight will resume after some time. The passengers are still at a lounge in Rome at the airport where the flight was escorted. So that's a big story that we are following. We got with us a passenger who is actually on that flight right now at a lounge in Rome. Welcome to Mojo Story, Yash Raj. And we're also joined by Dr. M.J. Augustine Vinod, who is an expert in aviation. He will also share his thoughts with us. But if I may start with you, Yash Raj, can you describe the moment when you first sensed that something wrong has happened, and how did the crew communicate with the passengers?
Uh, yeah, so the flight was pretty normal. It was just a normal long haul flight, and like we were like 3 hours to go for Delhi, and then there was this PA announcement that there's some security situation, and the aircraft and Indian airspace control is not letting aircraft to enter or something like that, something in that sense. So we are diverting the flight to Rome. So the first sense was like something might have happened in India, like in at Delhi airport. That's the first thought I had, that maybe there's something going on in Delhi airport, and that's why Indian airspace is closed. Kind of the messaging was like that, and there was no panic in the they were very calm, and even the all the crew members were very helpful, like answering our questions. They were like, oh, it's nothing, we also don't know a lot about it. And pilot was also like just said that security situation. So we were just pretty chilled out. The one thing though was that Wi-Fi stopped working, so we were not able to see anything on internet for like an hour, and so everyone was calm on the airport. No one was uh, uh, like thinking anything else. And yeah, after 1 hour or something, the Wi-Fi started, and I just as soon as it started working, I just opened the internet to see what's going on, and I opened X and I saw that there's this threat thing happening around, and so I just kept it on my end. I didn't share it with anybody. And a couple of more passengers actually saw it on the internet, whoever had access to internet at that point of time, but all of them kept it to themselves. And so after before just like coming reaching Rome, 30 minutes or something, the pilot again informed us that, hey, there will be Eurofighter jets because of the security situation. At that point of time, like it- things got real, and we were like, okay, there's something wrong. Like because a lot of people who didn't have access to internet or something were not using internet. They actually was thinking just like me, what I first thought when I heard that something might happen, some security incident. Then people like start to think that, oh no, something is wrong with here. But still people were calm because pilot was like, there's nothing, it's just the usual protocol. And they never actually mentioned that there is a threat on the aircraft. They only just said like it's normal security, because of the security situation. The Eurofighter is escorting us, and everyone remained calm on board. Like obviously, people got excited or uh, scared. I'm not sure. Because everyone wants to see the aircraft, but everyone is seating. There was no, I didn't see any tension on anyone's face, honestly. So but and then we landed, and that's the whole situation. Like we stayed on the aircraft for like 15 minutes, then they deboarded us. We went to the security thing and just got out. That's it.
So the atmosphere inside the cabin was pretty normal, as you are describing. There were no visible signs of panic or distress. That's perhaps the way the message was communicated to you and to the fellow passengers. We're glad that you are safe and all the passengers on board that flight are safe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were so good at, like, they were very good at communicating that, and like cabin crew actually did an amazing job on, like, you cannot see it on their face at even 1 minute that there is something going on for this aircraft. Like, because I think everyone was just thinking about something going on outside, like maybe something happened in India or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I knew. I panicked a bit for sure. I texted my sister and my friends to keep a watch on news channels. So they kept informing me about, like, obviously there's like like internet was going, like, it was a very weak signal. So they kept messaging me that, oh, this is the situation, and like uh, this is what they're saying it on news, or this is what they're saying on X. So yeah.
It's important that everybody kept their calm. You kept your calm. You didn't share it with your fellow passengers, and the way the information was communicated to you. Augustine, if I may come to you, how do airlines or aviation authorities assess and respond to a bomb threat mid flight? It was going over an ocean when they received that bomb threat.
Great question, Zaffar, and lot of information and lot of insights Yash shared with us, which is in conformity with the bomb threat standard operating procedure. Now, for the sake of understanding and for the sake of our viewers, I'll piece it down a bit, and you know the future passengers, if in future whenever they look at this show, they'll probably understand. So, if you noticed the video that you showed, where
Yeah,
Yash and passengers, they got down from the ladder and they walked to the bus. So this aeroplane was not taken to an area where other aeroplanes are nearby. So this is called an isolation area. So
right,
you isolate this particular aircraft with threat,
right.
so that even if it explodes, given the certain amount of fuel, it is not going to hurt other aeroplanes or other equipment nearby. So that brings us to that question of why go to Leonardo da Vinci Airport. Not all airports have the facility of isolation area. Many small airports do not have isolation area, or do not have an earmarked isolation area. So they may have to make do. If at all such threat happens and someone diverts, then the time required for them to gear up to accept an aeroplane with bomb threat is slightly on the higher side. That's point number one. Point number two is, as far as fighters escorting them, is
Yes, I
something
wanted to
I
ask
have.
you that.
uh,
I wanted to ask you specifically that question. That fighter jets escorting an aircraft which has been diverted from its set destination to another destination. Isn't it unusual?
it is, and secondly, see, we surrounded by two inimical nations. We have had our share of bomb threats in the recent times. In fact, you and I have discussed in one of the earlier shows about this bomb threat.
Right,
So, issue is, we have had our share of bomb threats, and we don't have this kind of escorting procedure so close. Um, Post 9/11, the standard operating procedures world over has changed. ICAO has issued a new procedure in which, if the aeroplane becomes a flying missile by itself, like the one which went into Twin Towers, or one
right,
went into Pentagon.
right,
So then what happens is when it becomes a flying missile, now it is a threat, an air to ground threat. So in that case, the fighter aeroplanes could be utilized to neutralize that threat, in which case you don't need to be so close. But in this case, the bomb threat was on board. And an aeroplane coming to India 3 hours to go will certainly have close more than 10 tons of fuel on board. And 10 tons of fuel and bomb going off, apart from passengers, evaporating instantaneously. Thankfully, they didn't, and we have Yash in front of us. The fuel also will create a huge ball of fire, and that will most certainly engulf the aeroplanes which are close by. Which is
So
the reason why, in a
what you're trying to essentially explain to us is that one, that fighter jets escorted this aircraft because of the possibility of this aircraft being converted into a missile like it happened in 9/11. But the escorting jets were very close to this aircraft. They should have been at a distance, because if the bomb explodes, then there's so much fuel in the aircraft. It could have become a ball of fire and engulfed these fighter jets as well.
there are two issues, Zaffar. One, the aeroplane becoming a missile by itself. There is no bomb on board. So somebody has probably hijacked that aeroplane, and then now that aeroplane has become a threat to someone on the ground, like the 9/11 situation. There was no bomb on board the 9/11 aeroplane. There were only people who took over that aeroplane and converted it into a missile. Second, this bomb on board the aeroplane. So, in a situation where the bomb is on board the aeroplane and the aeroplane is going to land safely, aeroplane is well under control of the pilots, escorting them with fighters has absolutely no meaning. Once you have established that the aeroplane is not under anybody else's control, it is still under pilot's control. Because what will you do escorting a fighter who has bomb on board? Fighter, what can fighter do when you have a bomb, suspected bomb is on board the aeroplane? Fighter can do nothing. So when you establish the aeroplane is completely under the command of the captain and his crew, absolutely no requirement for you to escort the aeroplane which has bomb on board.
So it
But
was not a part
when
of
an
the SOP. It is not generally a part of the
no,
SOP.
no, it is not part of the SOP. It is, see, ICAO issues doesn't issue the SOP. It is you issues the guideline. Based on the guideline, you make your standard operating procedure on in your country.
Right.
So your standard operating procedure need not necessarily incorporate all the points given in the guideline in the same spirit as it is given in the guideline.
Right.
So my assumption is in all cases of bomb threat in Italian airspace, they or in the European Union airspace, they have this protocol of fighters escorting. Absolutely
Right.
waste of effort.
Right.
No
That's
requirement
a
to do so.
that's a very important point. But I want to come back to go back to Yash Raj. How was the landing process in Rome, and what happened after you disembarked from that airline, from that flight?
It was like a normal security checkpoint. We just landed, waited in the cab for 15 minutes, and like beforehand, pilot had told people will come into aircraft and do some search, but that didn't happen. And we got down. We went to these buses,
Hmm.
and they took us to Terminal 3 security check, something like that. And they just did the normal airport check with get your laptop out. That's the whatever the normal procedure that we do on any airport. And that. And we got out. Then they asked if you guys have Schengen visas. So people who had Schengen visas, they gave them hotels to go outside. We don't have Schengen visas, so we just they gave us the this lounge to stay for the night, and planning to book our tickets, uh, which is which is a which is becoming a difficult task right now. They've not clarified a lot, but yeah.
So things have not been clarified. What is the plan now? What is the information that you
Yeah,
have been given? Because you are to go to India. That's the destination. Now, because of a diversion, you landed in Rome because of cir- circumstances that arose. What is the information you know, and what is your plan now, you and other passengers?
yeah. So they when once we came to the lounge, they were American Airlines people, and then they went, and there was no one at our lounge to contact. And so first they sent us an email that the same flight will go at 2 p.m. And then we received the email again like within like 1 hour that flight is cancelled. And I think most of the passengers started calling American Airline hotline because there was no one here. So they started booking us on random flights. So I got booked from Rome to Doha, and from Doha there's another layover of like 5 hours, and then from there I will go to New Delhi. So I'll reach tomorrow morning, and they had no flights whatsoever. And right now we got to know that there will be people at six. Right now it's 5:51. So I'll probably go there and ask them what like because how my baggage thing will work or something like that. So I have to just go talk to them about that. So yeah.
You already had a very horrible experience after you heard that there's a bomb threat. Now, at least, what you expect is that some sort of a smooth transition from Rome to Delhi, and that doesn't seem to be happening according to you right now.
Yes, correct. Like the airlines were really good at handling the situation, the actual situation. But after we have landed, they're just like, and even till we reached to this lounge. But the problem is like we have to spend night here. They have not given us not even like to sleep. We have just uh, chairs and a sofa and nothing to even pull over to just like put it on our face, something like that. There's food and everything, but yeah, it's like that.
Isn't it strange, Augustine?
Be telling Yash and other passengers, there's a beautiful saying in Hindi, Sar Salamat to Pagdi Azad. So if this particular aeroplane is not going, taking you to Delhi, there is a reason. So that reason they may tell to public or they may not tell to public.
Hmm.
So there is something called LRBL. So you must have seen the moment threat came, the flight attendant, the cabin attendants must have walked up and down, looked at all the overhead luggage bag. So that is the standard operating procedure to see if the bomb is identifiable. If it was, then they would have taken to the tail of the aeroplane. That is the area that is called LRBL, least risk bomb location. So they would have set up a certain mitigating procedure over there. They would have asked you not change your seat. Please continue sitting where you're sitting, or they would have moved you to up front. So these are all standard operating procedure that the cabin attendants are trained to do, and they practice every 6 months. You should be happy to know all over the world. They go to the training location. They practice this. They practice ditching drill. That is landing in water, how to take passengers into a boat, how to take them away. All those things they practice, which is why cabin attendant job is a noble job, B, highly paid job, and three, very stressful job. So all that you saw is the facade of the training, including how to keep calm. Because when you panic, it multiplies into the
Yes.
passengers. So when you show panic on your face, duguna teen guna ho jata hai. So all the cabin crew are very well trained, and it's not easy to be a cabin crew. 10 people get selected, only five pass out. So and the failure rate is very high. The retraining is very high. Every 6 months you have to go through the same training process. That is point number one. Point number two is that you talked about the aeroplanes not going, which is of a little concern to me because the best way to find out if there has been an explosive, there has been an explosive or there is an explosive, is through dogs. there is no other foolproof method. Dogs are extremely good at it. So the sniffer dogs, especially the bomb squad dogs, their sense of smell is so good that we have not yet come with a technological solution to replace the dog. So the dogs would have had some suspicion for which reason the aeroplane is not released. Is my suspicion. Otherwise, you would have Yash come back in the same
That's an
aeroplane.
extremely important point. We're
Yeah.
talking about protocols which are in place for verifying those threats which are received by email. It's not the first time, it's happening quite frequently now. But how does such threats impact the rescheduling of the flights or the flight safety, as you put it, that there must still be some process that must be happening? Perhaps the dogs that are there checking that flight, and that is why it's been now cancelled, right?
No, point is, Zaffar bhai, if the dog has shown some sign of suspicion, then what happens is then you do go through something called a strip down procedure. That is a 7-day procedure. So this aeroplane will be stripped. So it is a progressive check. So first check, then the second check. The first check, if there is even slightest doubt, then that aeroplane is grounded for some time. So that is something. Is my suspicion that it must have happened with this aeroplane. Otherwise, I should have come back by now. So, which is
Right.
why they are rebooking all the passengers in different flights. But I must tell all the passengers and Yash, in spite of all the hardships that you're going through, you should be thankful that
Yeah.
you're alive and still on terra firma.
Right.
So everything else is passé.
Yeah. It's
Everything else will come and go.
it's
It's
immaterial.
insignificant. Yeah.
Insignificant.
So
Everything else is
yeah.
insignificant. Yes, you are safe.
Yeah.
You are at a safe location. It's a matter of time. They'll book you on some other flight. It might take some more time, maybe a few hours, but you are safe and you will be headed to your destination. What is your next plan now? What have you been? What have they told you? When are you going to go back to them for another confirmation? Yes.
So I called the customer support. They booked me on the Doha flight. So right now, I think like in 10 minutes, I'll just go to the counter and get my boarding pass and make sure that I get my bag in Delhi because I have another flight to catch and I want to get my bag so that I can just go. So let's see what they tell me. I mean, everything. I was just like, it was at times it was scary, but it was also fun to look at the aircraft. So I was pretty chill at most of the time. I was very chill.
Yeah.
So,
What do you do? Yes.
so I worked as a data scientist in a biotech company based in Wisconsin, Madison.
And all the time you have been in touch with your family that what all happened. You spoke to them. You told them you're safe.
Yes, I didn't told my mother, but I told my sister about that. This is the situation. You tell me what is going on from the news. So my mom just knew that there is this like flight has just changed the path or something. Some random things I told her.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
I know, I can understand. But we wish you the best, Yash, to you and to your fellow passengers. We hope you'll be in India soon, in whatever flight that they will book you. We're very glad that you are safe and all others on board are safe. It's a matter of time. It's a procedure. Procedures do take time. Thanks so much for joining us, Yashraj, and thanks so
Thank
much for
you.
joining us, Dr. Augustine Vinod. It was a pleasure. Glad you share your thoughts and your ideas about this entire situation. And thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo Story.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.